Good morning. We are going to continue reading Amelia Bedelia Means Business. We left off where Amelia is trying to earn money to pay for half of a new bike. She had a job as a waitress, but it did not go well and she got fired. So she had just gotten home, so let's see what her next plan is. So chapter 7, The Lemonade Sit. You know, said Amelia Bedelia's father, your mom and I think you should start your own business. And there is one business that any kid could start. What? Said Amelia Bedelia. A lemonade stand, said her dad. Lemonade what? Said Amelia Bedelia. Stand, said her dad. Stand, she said. Stand what? Lemonade, said her dad. Sure, said Amelia Bedelia. I could stand lemonade. I love lemonade. Her father rolled his eyes and said, I know you love lemonade, sweetie. That's why you should make a stand for it. How come, said Amelia Bedelia. Is someone trying to get rid of lemonade? Amelia Bedelia's dad's face began to turn red. Of course not, he said. You could run a stand. Amelia Bedelia looked bewildered. Okay, bewildered means confused. So she didn't know what was going on. She was confused. Dad, she asked, what do you want me to do, run or stand? Stand, yelled her dad. Stand, stand. Amelia Bedelia jumped to her feet. Okay, she said, I'm standing. Now her dad's face was turning even redder. No, he said, not you. Your customers stand, you can sit. Thank you, said Amelia Bedelia. She sat back down in her chair. Good idea, said her dad. I think I need to sit down too. Amelia Bedelia's mom had been in the kitchen listening to them talk while she finished up. She was carrying a cup of coffee as she came into the living room. She sat down on the arm of her husband's chair. Amelia Bedelia, she said, remember last summer we made fresh lemonade together? It was delicious, said Amelia Bedelia. And easy, said her mother. Do you remember how we made it? You squeeze juice out of a lemon, mix it with cool water, add sugar until it tastes good, then throw in a couple of ice cubes. Bravo, said her mother. Then what? Amelia Bedelia shrugged and said, that's easy, you drink it. Or, said her mother, you could sell it. What if you set up a table and made fresh lemonade? Thirsty people would stand in line to drink it. You know, said Amelia Bedelia, that sort of sounds like what Dad was trying to say. Thank you, said Amelia Bedelia's father. Then he turned to his wife and said, and thank you, darling. I couldn't have said it better myself. Amelia Bedelia bought 50 bags of lemons on sale. She used the money she saved from her last birthday, her tip from Pete's Diner, plus the $20 she got for her bouquet. Her dad helped her build a stand that was easy to set up and take down. That way, he said, you could put it up wherever you'll get the most customers. Have you thought of a name for yourself? Asked her mom. My name is Amelia Bedelia, she said. That's the name you guys gave me. I meant, said her mom, a name for your business. Something catchy to get people's attention. Yes, said her dad. Think big. How can, said Amelia Bedelia. My brain is just one size. Maybe you should advertise, said her mom. If people hear how good your lemonade is, they'll want to try it. Advertise, said Amelia Bedelia, like the commercials on TV for Wild Bill's Autorama? Sort of, said her dad, but not so terrible. Everybody knew about Wild Bill's Autorama. Bill owned a car dealership right downtown. He wore a white 10-gallon cowboy hat. In his TV ads, he shouted over and over that to get the best price you had to buy your new car from Wild Bill's Autorama, the home of the sweet deal. Suddenly, Amelia Bedelia had a great idea. She remembered last summer when her parents had dragged her along to Wild Bill's to look at new cars with them. It was boring and hot. She could have really used a break. If she set up her stand near Wild Bill's Autorama, plenty of thirsty customers would line up for her lemonade when they were tired of looking at cars. Amelia Bedelia hopped on her awful, embarrassing piece of junk bike and rode down to Wild Bill's Autorama. She found the ideal spot for her stand, right near the entrance. Perfect. This was meant to be. She pedaled home as fast as she could. As she turned into her driveway, a great name for her business popped into her head. Hooray! Mom, yelled Amelia Bedelia. Do you have any yellow paint left over from when you painted the kitchen? I need to make my shine. Sure, sweetie, said her mom. She also gave Amelia Bedelia brushes and an old bed sheet. Amelia Bedelia spread the sheet out on the driveway and went to work. Her dad had told her to think big, so she drew a lemon as large as the kitchen table and outlined it with black marker. She was in the middle of writing the name for her business right on top of the lemon when her mom and dad came out to peek at what she was doing. Mom, Dad, stop, hollered Amelia Bedelia. Don't look. I want you to be surprised. They certainly were, and so was Wild Bill, and so were the reporters from the TV Action News team, as well as everyone in town. Uh-oh. Chapter 8, Amelia Bedelia's Last Stand. The next day, Bedelia waited until just before lunchtime to open for business. She figured that by then people were hot and thirsty and bored enough to want a glass of lemonade. Her parents came along to help. Her dad set up her lemonade stand while her mom unfolded the sign. They attached it to the bottom of the sign for Wild Bill's Autorama. Lots of lemons, handmade lemonade. Looking good, said her dad. Terrific name, said her mom. It's perfect, said Amelia Bedelia. I squeeze a whole lemon into every glass. That's a lot. Bedelia was so proud of her sign, she admired it while her dad set up chairs in front of the stand. Thanks, Daddy, said Amelia Bedelia. Now my customers won't have to stand. This is more like a lemonade sit than a stand. Her father kept checking his watch. I have a surprise for you, he said. I called the television station and told them about your business. They thought it was a cute idea. They're sending their news team to interview you. Amelia Bedelia jumped up and clapped her hands. Really? Will they make a commercial for me? Nope, said her dad. You'll be a story on News at Noon. That's way better than the commercial. It's the real deal. Dad and I are going inside to look at the cars for a few minutes, said her mom. We'll send some customers out here for you. Thanks, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll get ready. She cut lemons in half and put them in a big bowl ready to squeeze. Then she arranged the cups and ice. A few minutes later, a van from the Action News team pulled up. They were her first customers. A reporter and a cameraman walked up to the stand and introduced themselves to Amelia Bedelia. As she talked with them about her business, she made them each a lemonade. The cameraman started shooting the scene while the reporter began interviewing Amelia Bedelia. To truly appreciate what happened next, you'd have to have seen it on TV. Down at Pete's Diner, Pete and Doris always turned on News at Noon for their lunch crowd. Here is what they saw. Ted Daly here, News at Noon, right outside Wild Bill's Autorama, where another business is having its grand opening, an old-fashioned lemonade stand run by this young lady. It's Amelia Bedelia, said Pete. A policeman who was having pie and coffee at the counter looked up and said, You know her, Pete? I had a run-in with that girl in the park. Pete nodded and said, Officer O'Brien, be glad Doris served you that cherry pie you're eating. They looked back at the TV. Ted Daly told the viewers how Amelia Bedelia made her lemonade while the cameraman shot a close-up. Amelia Bedelia makes every glass by hand, just lemon juice, cool water, ice, and a bit of sugar, Ted Daly said. Amelia Bedelia handed Ted Daly a glass of lemonade. I use 1 lemon in each glass, she said. That's a lot, but it tastes better. It's why I call my business Lots of Lemons. As Amelia Bedelia pointed at the sign behind her, the camera pulled back so people watching on television could also see the sign for Wild Bill's Autorama. You folks at home take it from me, Ted Daly. Amelia Bedelia's lemonade may be a sweeter deal than you'll get at Wild Bill's Autorama. Amelia Bedelia was thrilled. Her dad was right. Being on the news was great. Her lemonade was going to be famous, and maybe, just maybe, she'd make enough money to buy half of a new bike. That's when the camera began to jiggle up and down. The cameraman could not hold it steady because he was laughing so hard. Back at the diner, Pete said, Looks like an earthquake at Wild Bill's. Doris covered her mouth with her hand and gasped. Gracious, Amelia Bedelia's sign makes Wild Bill's cars look like lemons. Pete shut his eyes and shook his head. Back at Wild Bill's, Ted Daly turned around to see what was so funny. He looked at Amelia Bedelia's sign, too, and doubled over with laughter. Then Wild Bill himself came out to see what was going on. Amelia Bedelia was so impressed to see him in person, he was a real celebrity. Howdy, fellas, said Wild Bill. What can I do for you? Are you in the market for a new car? Ted and his cameraman tried not to laugh, but that just made it worse. What's so funny there, fellows? Said Wild Bill. Ted pointed to Amelia Bedelia's sign. He was laughing so hard he could barely stand up. Lots of lemons, read Wild Bill. That's a sweet idea on a hot day like this. Then the joke dawned on Wild Bill, too. Lots of lemons, he bellowed. And bellowed means yelled. It's another word for yelled. I don't sell lemons. My cars are the best. My cars are not lemons. Of course not, said Amelia Bedelia. Cars are cars, lemons are lemons. She handed him a glass of her lemonade. Here, she said, my treat. I'm not going to stand for this, he said. You don't have to, said Amelia Bedelia. Have a seat. That's why I brought Cheers with me. Wild Bill bent down to look at Amelia Bedelia eye to eye. Little lady, he said, are you mocking me with your lemonade? When they say a car is a lemon, Sometimes people say, oh, I got a lemon for a car. It means the car has had a lot of problems. So Wild Bill does not want this sign out, making it look like his cars have a lot of problems. Oh, no, sir, you're famous, said Amelia Bedelia. She pointed at the TV camera. Everyone knows you. Wild Bill looked straight into the camera. Is that thing on? He asked. His face turned from white as a ghost to red to white again. He strode toward the camera, took off his cowboy hat, and used all 10 gallons of it to cover the camera lens. Television screens all over town went dark. Back at the diner, Doris and Pete and the policeman stared up at the blank screen. Be glad you're not Amelia Bedelia right now, Doris whispered to Pete. Okay, so we had 2 vocabulary words. We had bewildered, which meant confused. And then we had bellowed, which means yelled. We did meet a new character, which was Wild Bill. And we could say the setting was, a new setting for these chapters was by Wild Bill's, whoops, let me erase that, sorry. Wild Bill's Cars Lot. So by Wild Bill's Car Lot. So we had a new setting and a new character, 2 new vocabulary words. So go ahead and answer your questions, and we'll continue reading tomorrow to see if Amelia Bedelia can make enough money.